You're about to become compost.
So James Gunn recently dropped a pretty intriguing hint. In some of his latest comments, he mentioned this mystery project he hasn't announced yet, and even said it's actually his favorite. Now, rumors are flying that it could be a brand new Batgirl project set in Gunn's DCU. So, let's break down everything we know so far, shall we? In this new chat with Entertainment Weekly, James Gunn got into some pretty interesting stuff about what's next for the DCU. They asked him about the near future, basically what's lining up to start filming soon, and Gunn didn't hold back. He talked about wrapping up Peacemaker Season 2 and Superman, which are both nearly finished with sound mixing and color timing. Those are the final touches before something's totally locked, so it sounds like we'll be seeing early episodes of Peacemaker and maybe even sneak peeks of Superman pretty soon. And he mentioned Lanterns, which is already halfway through filming, so we're not too far from getting our first real look at that either. It's kinda cool because it means there's a steady pipeline of DCU content actually getting made instead of just living in development limbo. But here's where it gets super intriguing. Gunn dropped this tease about a TV show he called his favorite thing out of everything they're working on right now. He said it's hopefully getting made soon, and the way he described it, it's pretty clear it's something close to his heart. Then, as he rambled a bit, he kinda let slip there's another movie in the works. You could tell he was mentally checking what he's actually allowed to reveal, because he stopped himself mid-thought and went, "Oh shit, I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not say." So apparently there are a couple of movies in development, one that's already in pretty good shape, and another that's closer to just getting off the ground, but still has positive momentum. And then there's a thing he's writing himself, which he thinks is okay to admit publicly. So after Clayface, it's not 100% locked down what's next, but it does seem like they have a strong idea. When they pressed Gunn about how many of those undisclosed titles are ones fans actually know about versus total surprises, he dropped some gold. He straight up said his favorite thing hasn't been announced at all. He also mentioned one of the scripts people sort of know exists, and then there's his own script, plus another that's flying completely under the radar. Most of it is stuff the public has no clue about. He even shared that when he first pitched his vision for the DCU to David Zaslav, there was one project he was super protective of. He purposely didn't announce it because he thought it would be way too easy for another studio to copy. So that's apparently one of the big main things cooking right now, and we're all just waiting to find out what it is. And here's something fun. When he was asked whether he's going to direct whatever he's writing, Gunn said he always holds off on deciding that until he finishes the script. But being totally real, he said he'll probably direct it. That's actually huge, because when Gunn directs something, it usually means he's putting all his energy and quirks into it. It becomes a very personal project. So, what does all this actually mean for the DCU? Honestly, it's a pretty big deal. One of the biggest differences between the old DC Films division at Warner Brothers and this new DC Studios under Gunn and Peter Safran is how carefully they're taking things. Gunn's made it super clear that nothing, whether it's DCU canon or one of those standalone Elseworlds projects, will move forward until there's a fully finished script and a solid creative vision. That's why we still don't have a new DCU Batman or Wonder Woman movie officially on the slate yet. They're waiting until the stories are ready. That's a sharp contrast from how the old DC films used to do business. Back then, they'd announce movies way too early and rush them into production, which often led to messy rewrites and huge behind-the-scenes shakeups. It's why we got some films that felt half-baked. Now, under DC Studios, they're clearly trying to avoid all that chaos. You can see it in how something like Clayface is only now gearing up to shoot, because they actually took the time to nail down what the movie's supposed to be. Gunn's approach is honestly refreshing. It's not every day you see a studio head being this transparent. He's been very upfront about when things are or aren't working. Like recently, he even admitted a DC movie got axed, which is a level of honesty we don't usually get from people in his position. It builds trust and keeps fans more invested because we're not left guessing about what's happening behind closed doors. Now, let's dive into what all this could actually mean. There's a ton of buzz that this mystery project he's writing, and most excited about, might be a new Batgirl movie set firmly in his DCU. That would be a pretty wild move, considering how the last Batgirl film got completely scrapped even after being nearly finished. A Batgirl movie done under Gunn's direct supervision, with his quirky yet heartfelt style, could completely redeem the character for the big screen. Plus, there's so much rich comic material Gunn could pull from. If he wanted to go dark and gritty, he could look at Batgirl Year One, which gives us Barbara Gordon's origin story and shows how she carved out her own identity beyond just being Commissioner Gordon's daughter. It's got that underdog spirit Gunn loves. Someone underestimated because of her size and gender who still decides to suit up and prove everyone wrong. Or he could go with something like Batgirl of Burnside, which is more vibrant and modern. That run reimagines Barbara living in a hip part of Gotham, balancing school, her social life, and crime fighting. It let Gunn bring in his trademark humor and slice-of-life moments while still diving into serious superhero business. Honestly, it feels like the perfect playground for him. And because this is all happening inside Gunn's carefully structured DCU, a Batgirl movie wouldn't just be a standalone adventure, it could easily tie into Batman the Brave and the Bold, which is set to introduce the new DCU Batman and Damian Wayne. Imagine how fun it would be to see Barbara interact with Batman as a father figure to Damian while still proving she's fully capable on her own. It'd also be a smart way to build up the larger Bat family dynamic early on. Plus, Gunn loves team-ups and quirky character pairings. You could absolutely see him using Batgirl as a stepping stone to introduce more Gotham heroes or even set up Birds of Prey down the line. And because this is his DCU blueprint, every character is being designed from the start to slot into a larger universe without it feeling forced. That means crossovers and cameos would actually make sense story-wise instead of being shoehorned in. There's also something poetic about Gunn being the one to give Batgirl her due. Given how the previous film was handled, basically tossed in the vault forever, it'd be a pretty powerful statement that under his leadership, these characters will finally get the thoughtful, carefully planned treatment they deserve. It's a way to reassure fans that they're actually learning from past mistakes. At the end of the day, Gunn being so open about all of this makes it way more exciting to see where DC live action is headed. Whether this mystery project turns out to be Batgirl or something else entirely, it's clear he's pouring a lot of love into it. The fact that it's still under wraps because he didn't want another studio to rip it off, that only adds to the intrigue. And knowing he's probably going to direct it himself means we'll get something that feels uniquely his. So even though we don't have an official announcement yet, the pieces are there. A mystery favorite project from Gunn, a DCU that's being built patiently and thoughtfully, and a huge opportunity to fold iconic characters like Batgirl into a larger connected universe alongside Batman, Damian, and whoever else they bring in. It's the kind of careful story-first planning that gives fans real hope the DCU can finally become as cohesive and beloved as it always had the potential to be. And with Gunn leading the charge, it's honestly starting to feel like we might actually get there. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.